Today's devotion is called History Makers, and we're on day 129 or May the 9th if you're following along on the calendar. And today's morning rinse is Isaiah 25 through 27. And the featured verse is Isaiah 26:3. The steadfast of mind you will keep in perfect peace because he trusts in you. Lawrence Peter Yogi Berra, an American professional baseball catcher, was an 18-time All-Star, and he won 10 World Series championships. He's actually widely regarded as one of the greatest catchers in baseball history. One of the famous quotes that he would say is, "Baseball is 90% mental and the other half is physical." I can vouch for this truth from watching all three of my kids play sports, as well as playing myself growing up. And I'm sure my husband, although I never did get to actually watch him play, he can vouch for this as well. My son, for example, he played soccer as his main sport. And my middle daughter plays softball and still to this day plays softball. And then my oldest daughter played basketball. My daughter is left-handed and often will confuse a less seasoned pitcher who is used to pitching to right-handed batters. So when she would go up to bat, then it would result in her getting hit by wild pitches occasionally when she was batting. One time she was hit so hard while she was at bat that it literally knocked her to her knees, and it stopped the game until she was able to recompose, and then she actually claimed a free base that day. Now, this was in high school, and once you move to college and you are a pitcher yourself, then you don't get to bat much. There's very few pitchers who also bat in college, but this was when she was in high school and was still a pitcher and a batter. Now, if you played sports at all, or you know somebody who has, you have probably experienced or even witnessed injuries such as this. So take that thought just a little bit further. And side note, I think all three of my kids have gotten hurt by playing sports. One funny story was when my oldest daughter was in, I think, grade school, and she was running the bases on recess, if I remember the story correctly, and she fell and tripped and broke her part of her ankle bone. And so some injuries, take you to the ground and just get your wind cut out, and then other injuries cause a lot more serious damage. She had to have surgery and the whole bit. So, but when we're talking about injuries, if we take it a bit further and mirror that, in our own lives, and so we can ask ourselves the question, have we ever experienced a curveball like what, in softball, for instance, when we're, watching a player get pitched to and there's a curveball? We can mirror that to our own lives, and the question would be, have we ever experienced a curveball in our life? Or, like my oldest daughter, when she, tripped and fell, I think it was over first base or something, and broke part of her ankle bone. Those are curveballs and something that is very unexpected that happens in our lives. Some examples might be, has a friend failed you, leaving you heartbroken and knocked you down basically for a few days or a few innings per se? Or on even a deeper level, have you ever felt attacked from the enemy who was trying to knock you out for an entire game? Even in the midst of these trials, you can still have perfect peace by trusting God. I mean, he ultimately is going to have the last say. Your circumstance is not going to have the last say. And this is where our trust must lie in God. And so after my middle daughter was knocked down from that wild pitch that I mentioned earlier, she got back up, and by the next inning, she had recovered enough to take the mound and to pitch to, that opposing team. And, it's the same thing in in our lives, we must get back up and keep running the bases. Side note, it takes me to a movie that I was in actually called Running the Bases. So if you have not seen that movie, you've got to go and rent it, record it. I play a character, a role called Mama D. She's in the very beginning of that. And I'm so proud of that movie. I actually won an award for that performance. And so go watch that movie. It's a very inspiring movie about faith and standing up for who you are. Back to the story of getting up. We have to just keep getting up and keep running the bases. One thing I did mention was, obviously she too is a pitcher, and she too has hit multiple batters throughout her career of playing that sport. And so she understands being hit as well as hitting other batters accidentally. And so we have to remember that our own actions can actually cause curveballs in other people's lives as well. So other people create curveballs in our lives that cause things to be unexpected or have unexpected turns in our lives. And then how we behave can cause curveballs in other people's lives. It's not about the hard knocks that come in our lives. It's always about how we respond to them. And have I always been perfect at responding to life's curveballs? No. Am I perfect now? No. Just like you aren't perfect, but we can continue to grow in our faith and grow in our responses and grow in the things that, we are learning in our lives with our faith. And it's all about our responses. My daughter in that game was the finishing pitcher where she got hurt. She stayed on the mound that whole entire time and finished the game. And she remained steadfast on the mound. And they not only won that game, but she led her team that year to break a lot of records in that season. And they became history makers for her school because of how she pitched in that season. She also won the VIP for her team that year. And so we have to remember that Jesus can give you perfect peace if you trust him. And don't let the knocks of life keep you down. God needs you to be a history maker in your world. So the question is, will you take the field? This sweatshirt that I'm wearing today, I actually helped design it for her team that year because they won districts and they made history the year that she was playing and the year that she got hurt. And, they still took the field and they were history makers. So the question is, are you going through a hard time right now? This is, and the challenge for today to dig deeper is to pray that God would help you stay steadfast, that he would help you continue on your field, that you would take the field being steadfast, focused on him, and ask for his perfect peace. Memorize the featured verse today, and I want you to quote it all day long. All day long, whatever version that you have, memorize it and stick with it. The steadfast of mind you will keep in perfect peace because he trusts in you. So tonight, when you are reflecting on this challenge of being a history maker and being a field taker, write down the featured verse from memory in the notebook and journal how you trusted in him throughout any struggles that you may be having right now. Write down if there's any shift in your mind that you have about pressing forward, remaining on the field, trusting in him, and keeping peace no matter what you're going through. And I pray that this inspires you to be a history maker. You may be the first person in your family to finish college, or you may be the first person in your family line that has the type of job that you have, or you may be the first person in your line and in your family that builds a legacy for your children. You may be the first person in your family that is putting away money for your children's college, or, doing something of that nature. You may be the first people. You may be creating history for your family right now. You may be the first people in your family line that is serving God the way that you are serving God. You may be the first person in your line of family that, is tithing or is, serving in some capacity. You may be the first people in your family that, is an entrepreneur and giving back. I don't know what kind of history maker you are, but you are one, and own it. And I'm just praying that you take the field that God has put you on, and that you take the field that He has purpose in you to take. And I am looking forward to hearing all kinds of stories about you being a history maker. If you don't have my devotional yet, go down to the show notes and click the link and go ahead and get that. And if you are still needing a journal, go ahead and look down in the show notes as well, because I do have a companion journal if you don't have one already. But of course, you can just use a notebook or whatever you like to journal with. Anything will work. I just believe in writing things down, and I hope that you continue to believe that as well. And until tomorrow, keep rinsing, reflecting, and repeating. God bless you.